welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to highlight and contour like a pro. Now, this is my way of highlighting and contouring. Of course, there are other ways to do it. This is my way that I do it because I do like to do natural glam, so my contour isn't as dramatic as a lot of contours. So yeah, just keep watching. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start. My face is already prepped and primed, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the cream contour. And I don't have any foundation on, so I just have the magic cream on. And I'm gonna start with the cream contour. And the cream contour I'm gonna use today is the MAC Pro Face palette. And I'm actually going to use, it's the Dark Honey, the color in Dark Honey. And this is the brush MAC 188S, I believe that says. So I'm gonna use this brush. I'm gonna take the color. I'm just gonna apply it where I want to contour it. So because I'm doing it underneath, what this is going to do is when I put the foundation on top of it, it's basically going to diffuse it, but it'll still slightly be there. So we don't want a really harsh, like I said, I like to do more of a natural glam, so I don't want a super harsh contour. And it is, don't get me wrong, it is contour and it will show, but this is the way I found doing it this way, is basically to get a nice contour without it being too dramatic. Or too, what's the word? Like, I guess too showy. Like, you know, some people would have contour and it's just like, you see it when you see them in person. I don't like to necessarily want to be like, the focus of the face is just like, I want it to be all blended together and more of a natural color. So I like to go in with this color first, like I said. But what I'm doing is I'm blending as I go, and by doing that, you're gonna also soften the look as well. You're gonna get a more natural contour to it as well. So I'm gonna take the darker color from this. I'm gonna go underneath the chin and the jawline. So you see I have some like dark spots, but it's okay, I'm working on it, y'all. So I'm just gonna blend that. And I'm telling you, you guys, if you do it this way, your contour is gonna look so much more like buffed out and just so much more smooth. You won't have any harsh lines. Like I said, I like to buff as I go. Then I'm gonna take that darker color again. And I'm gonna go right where I did the lighter color. But I'm gonna focus it closer to the ear and bring it down a little bit. And this one I'm gonna blend a little bit lighter. I'm not gonna blend it as well as I blended the other color. So I have to show a little bit more. This is the same thing on this side. GG, not right now. She's trying to make me play with the ball. And don't forget, so this is going under foundation. So when we put the foundation on top, it won't be as harsh. So now we're gonna go ahead and go into our foundation. I'm actually gonna use my, I'm gonna use my Mercier, and this is the Flawless Fusion. I'm just gonna take 2 pumps for this. This is my more natural foundation. That's what I like, my go-to everyday foundation. I'm gonna take my foundation brush. I like to put it on the back of my hand and warm it up. And then I'm gonna start right on my jawline. And as you can see, it's already kind of, like I have like a lot of little spots here. It's already covering it. But we're gonna be careful when we go over where we just contoured. We're gonna do a little bit of the foundation over it. So it still shows through, but it's also like buffing it, and it's also making it more diffused. Just lightly over that contour, just a thin layer, because we just want the color to come through, but we're not actually trying to cover it completely. I'm telling you guys, this is gonna be such, you're gonna be like, wow, that does look so much better. And not necessarily, might not necessarily look like, because you know in pictures, like when you do a heavier contour, I feel like pictures kind of necessarily sometimes can look better. But in person, when people see you, not only are you gonna look chiseled and blended and contoured, but you still, you won't have like that, like I said, that muddy look on your face. Or like where you can just like be like, okay, that's where she contoured and that's how where she put that contour. We don't want to see it. We want just people to look at her overall face and be like, wow, her makeup looks good, not just pick out one thing. and be like, what is that? Unless you're trying to do that, of course. Makeup isn't art. You do what you want. Bring it down on the neck. So, a lot of people always ask me, your highlight, is the highlight like the contouring part, or is the highlight concealer part? Is the highlight the powder part? Now, there are different terms for it, but technically the highlighting part of the face that I'm about to do is basically the concealer part. So let me show you guys. I'm actually gonna use it's gonna be a little more full coverage, and this is the Kevyn aucoin. It's gonna be a little bit more full coverage, because I kinda wanna show you guys so you can really see how I highlight, okay? And this is a very, very full coverage. It is basically a foundation, but you take some out, because this, like I said, it's extremely full coverage. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna start down my nose, and then I'm gonna pull it downward. I always stay away from underneath the eye, directly under the eye. I like to pull it up. So basically, everyone has like a triangle under their face. So what I'm trying to do is accentuate that. I'm trying to bring that to light. So with the Kevyn aucoin, I'm gonna take my setting spray, spray the face, and then go back in and blend, because it is a cream. So it takes a little more work to blend it out. As you can see, it's like, and this is just a small beauty blender. This is a beauty blender I get from Ulta. And this is the Real Techniques one. They have like a little pack of the little baby eggs. And I keep these in my kit because they're just so amazing. We're staying away from directly under the eye, because if you start to go directly under the eye, what you'll do is you'll have those lines and you'll start to get a lot of creasing. And as you can see, just by me highlighting, I'm kind of contouring my nose at the same time. So that's where a lot of people be like, oh, you're contouring? Like, not necessarily, I'm actually highlighting, but it does go all together. Like, you have to highlight to contour as well to get the perfect highlighting contour. Make sure we stay away from directly underneath. Now, of course, we're gonna blend, but we're not putting actually any product under there. And I'm taking you section by section. That's also really important. Take your time when you're doing your makeup, especially if you're doing it to this magnitude. Take your time. That's beautiful, and I do love the Kevyn aucoin. Like I said, you can also use it. It's basically a foundation. It's the skin enhancer. So it is a foundation, but I like to use it as a concealer sometimes, especially if I'm going out and I really want that, like, girl, I want to be snatched highlight. I'm gonna go down the nose with a thin line. Blend it up with the concealer, but whatever's rest on the brush, don't dip back in, because this is very full coverage. And the spritz again. So not only am I like helping blend my cream highlight, but it's also, when I'm setting it in between like that, it's gonna actually melt the makeup, and it's gonna also help it blend together as well. Take your time, ladies, don't rush it. Now for this, now if we're doing a really quick, you know, get ready kind of look, then we'll kind of go a little faster, but for this, we're gonna take our time. Okay, so that's all blended out, so as you can see, I'll blend it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and bake. I'm actually gonna be using the Midnight Colorless Luxury Powder. I'm gonna take a little bit of that powder, just a little bit. I'm actually gonna knock some of that off. And then I'm going to press it underneath the eye, or wherever I just put that concealer. I'm just gonna blend that into the skin. And this is why it's important to do a thin layer first, so when we bake, we don't have that residue of that powder. So that's why I take some off, and blend it. This trick is like, it's a holy grail trick. Like, you're never gonna go back after you do this. And then anywhere I get lines, I also like to take that powder and press it in. Because what I'm gonna do is gonna lock all that foundation in place. And then I'm gonna take my bigger beauty blender. I fell. So I'm gonna take my bigger beauty blender and also do the same thing. Knock off some of that powder and then press it onto the forehead. It helps with a lot with lines through the day. So I have really bad forehead lines. So now we're gonna go ahead and bake. I'm gonna take my little beauty blender again and put a lot of powder on it. and put it right where I put that concealer. This is gonna make sure it doesn't move, and it's also going to brighten the under eye as well. And then because I do get smile lines, I'm gonna bake those as well. I look crazy, but it will be worth it. Trust me. So man, you can also do down the nose, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna bake my forehead. I go through a lot of powder. I'm gonna bake my forehead where those lines are. And I'll show you what I mean if you want to also go down the nose. So just follow that line where we put that, just like that. And if you want to do like even a more stronger contour, you can bake here as well, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm gonna let that sit for a few minutes and we'll be right back. Okay, so now we let that sit, so I'm gonna take a blending brush, and this is the Morphe Jeffree Star brush. This is the JS1. So this is pretty much a buffing brush. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to buff that powder away. By doing this, this is also going to help with creasing, but it's also going to give you like a more of an airbrush finish as well and make your foundation like bulletproof. And then whatever's like left over, I'm just gonna go all over the face and buff it out. And that way we have the perfect canvas. So I like to go and set the face again. Oh my gosh, you guys, please excuse my lash coming off. I had no clue while I was filming that it was coming off, but excuse it, I do fix it. Don't talk about me. I use a lot of setting spray. And it's also gonna keep your face from looking powdery. Okay, so now we're gonna move into the contour, the powder contour part. So I'm going to take my Morphe, and this is the Filter Effect, Filter 13. And this is the darker color for me. Now, I like to use browns. I don't necessarily like to use grays or charcoal kind of color, so I like to keep it to the brown, warmer tone contours or powders. I'm gonna take my Jeffree Star Fluffy brush, and this is the JS4. Right where I had contoured earlier, I'm gonna go with this powder. I like to go in circles because it's gonna blend it at the same time that I'm applying it. Now with this color, because it is the darker color, I'm not gonna go too far down with the initial color that I'm putting on there. So the initial amount of product that I have on here. So I'm gonna buff it out really well. And I'm kind of buffing upward, not down, because I don't wanna necessarily get rid of this. I'm buffing upward, just like that. And then with whatever's left over, I'm just gonna bring it down to the corners of my mouth. But I'm not adding any product, I'm just bringing down whatever I had left on my brush, along with whatever's on the cheek, and kind of bring it down. As you can see, it already is giving me that lifted cheekbone. It's all about blending. You want everything to look very natural and everything to look very put together. You don't want it to be like standing out on the face. And then I'm gonna take this color, and I'm just gonna go just on the perimeter of my forehead, just to shade in that area. And just a little bit, doing the same motion, going in circle, just buffing that and blending that. So then I'm gonna take this color, I'm gonna go in with a smaller brush, and I'm gonna contour the nose a little bit. So the way I like to do it, I'm gonna show you guys, so if you guys, I like to let's start from the brow. So where the brow begins is where I'm gonna start my contour, and I'm gonna bring it down. I'm just gonna follow the shape of my nose. So I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna do it a little heavier so you guys can really see. Take it, follow the outer line of the nose, and bring it downward. I like to bring it, that's why I like to start on the brow, because it's gonna contour the eye as well. So it's gonna make this part of the nose look different, as well as contouring the eye. So I'm just gonna go back and blend by buffing it. And like I said, go straight down the nose. So you're just following the natural shape of your nose, but you're gonna just make it, the shadow that you naturally have there, you wanna make it a little more intense to make your nose look more contoured or more chiseled. And everybody doesn't need to do this. Some people, you know, you already have a pretty chiseled nose. Everybody doesn't have to do this. But if you want to be more defined, then you could. So I'm gonna take a more fluffy brush and kind of blend gonna go in with my little beauty blender and blend some more. You can never blend too much. Blending is your best friend. And as you can see, it's diffusing those lines and softening them. But my nose is still contoured. And sometimes I like to go back and add just a little bit here and down here just to clean up that contour. So I'm gonna go back and dip into some of my powder again and just set that concealer that I just put to clean up the contour. And then we're gonna go back in with our setting spray. Like I said, I like a lot of setting spray. Let that dry before we move on to the next step. So I went ahead and finished my lips and my eyes. So what I did was just bottom mascara and then dip my lips. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish with the contouring, and this is the, I'm gonna use the MAC powder. And I'm going to take a fluffy brush, which is basically my foundation brush, and I'm going to apply this on my cheekbones, a little on the forehead, and I'm a bronzer girl, so I like to be a little heavy-handed. Smile. I know you usually just do your blush there, but I like to do my bronzer here as well, because it just kind of blends everything together. Just buffing that a little. And I also put it down where I put my darker contour, just to blend and buff it. So then I'm gonna take my beauty blender and blend all of this together. I'm gonna take my setting spray. I'm gonna put a lot again. So I love setting spray. And I'm gonna add the blush. And the blush I'm using, ooh, I don't know what this blush is, but it's a matte blush. I've had it for decades, so. I'm just gonna take any brush and I'm gonna smile, softly apply a little bit on the cheekbones, a little on the forehead, and I like to do a little bit at the bottom of my nose. And I even like to take my blush, just whatever left over, and blend underneath as well. I just like the color to be consistent all the way through the face. Beauty blender again, blend it all out. And voila. Okay, and this is the final look. I hope I helped you guys out when it comes to highlighting and contouring. Hopefully it's not too difficult for you, but always remember, practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So don't give up and just don't get discouraged if it doesn't look good the first time. Just keep trying. You will eventually get it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.